Welcome back. Okay. Yeah. So these are the two great scholars we have seen. One is related to Wait, yeah. One is related to Raja Raman Rai and Dayanand Saraswati. Another great personality who had the same contribution for the growth of Indian nationalism and the consciousness. He was none other than Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda. Of course, when we are reading Swami Vivekananda, we have to go through a little bit Ramakrishna mission also, right? So it is better Swami Ramakrishna Paramahans and Vivekananda, and their contribution was Ramakrishna mission. Let us see what is that. Okay, Ramakrishna Paramahans. Swami Ramakrishna Paramahans was a mystic saint who was a priest of Kali temple at Dakshineswar Kali in Calcutta. He was not only formally educated, but the great religious discourse, his wisdom that many educated people through, through they able to come in contact with the Kali temple only to listen to his discourse. He preached the all religion were different part to leaning the same goal. Okay, he used to explain views with the help of proverbs. He is a man of embodiment of God. He preached the service of man, that is to service for the God. And anyhow, his ablest student was none other than Swami Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda childhood, I hope you know that, and we are not going to that all in detail. In shortcut, if you'll see, 19th century saw the spiritual awakening among the Hindus, okay, and ignited by the great saint, Vivekananda and Ramakrishna Paramahans. If you'll see that Ramakrishna Paramahans, he was born in 1836, okay, and his eldest um, student was none other than, yeah, Raja Raman Rai. Ramakrishna attracted many great soul. Narendranath Dutt, who became the famous Swami Vivekananda, became his disciple. And Swami Vivekananda, yeah, Ramakrishna Paramahansa died in, as I told you, born in 1836. He died in 1886, leaving all the his desire to fulfill to this great personality, Swami Vivekananda. Let us go to Vivekananda. Vivekananda, born in Calcutta in 1863. Please note down these all. Yes, children. Okay. He possessed a sharp mind and keen intellectual, great philosopher, uh, great educator. Okay. He was modern and the progressive outlook. He became the disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahans. Vivekananda occupied a remarkable place in the modern Indian history to create the socio-awareness and to spread the Indian spirituality in the abroad. The great contribution was none other than he was the person who able to get a opportunity to introduce India. What is India? Oh, India's spirituality. That all he able to introduce in the rest of the world. He got one opportunity and he utilized properly. 1888, Vivekananda traveled extensively over the India, preached among the people the greatness of Indian heritage. In 19th century, he able to get an opportunity also. That was the Hinduism was a regarding in the West as a primitive religion. Vivekananda tried to remove those misconceptions. Okay, how he did. In 1893, a great religious assembly was held in Chicago. I hope you know this a lot. In America, famous Parliament of Religion. Vivekananda proceed to there. Please note down the year 1893. There, he presented unique way. He revealed the world parliament that real meaning of world's most ancient religion, that is the Hinduism. He explained the inner philosophy associated even with the most ordinary Hindu practice. There was a relation validity behind the Indian belief. He pointed out how India was a great related to its liberalism, universal brotherhood, and all these things. He able to proper platform he able to get to introduce through Hinduism. Uh, till that, till his time, there was a misconception about the Indian religion in the abroad, but he was the person who able to give a proper introduction to Indian religion in that world religious platform, right? So Vivekananda taught many things to his counter countrymen. The following were some of the notable. You can know that how he had a great religious bent of mind. What are the greatest mission of Ramakrishna mission? So instead of Vivekananda, let us see in 1896. In 1896, please note down. After returning from the Chicago, 1896, Swami Vivekananda established the Ramakrishna mission in 1896. It has headquarters in the Belur near Calcutta. It has branches in America, Malaysia, Sri Lanka, Myanmar, in several other countries of the Europe, right? So this mission lays emphasis on the following. What was the main objective of this Ramakrishna mission? Let us complete a little bit faster. Please note down all this point. In shortcut, you can write, children. Condemning the caste system. As like before, as we read that similarly, this Ramakrishna mission also didn't believe on the caste system in India. Okay, Vishwa Bhatrutva. Now that was almost, yeah, gone, I think we can say. Second one is preach oneness on all the religion, right? There is no division. That was the main objective of the Ramakrishna mission. Little bit new concept, oneness in all the religion. Okay, so that is one new thing here we can understand. High practice on the Indian culture. Ramakrishna mission preached the Indian culture was far superior than the Western culture. Okay, as he proved in that religious concern in that America. Okay, Swami Vivekananda inspired the Hinduism was based on the Vedantas. He gave emphasis on the Vedantas. Okay, next one, emphasis on the social good rather than own personal salvation. uh, in Hinduism, one concept is there. What is that? To get the moksha. Instead of that, moksha means salvation. Instead of get the self-salvation, Swami Vivekananda or the Ramakrishna mission, it gave emphasis to render service to the social. So that was one unique thing. Laying emphasis on the education, yeah, that is the main concept of all. So this socio-religious movement gave more important to educate the people. They gave more important to bring the Western culture, Western thoughts to Indian culture. As a result, we can bring or we can come out a little bit ignorance to a little bit good knowledge. Okay, so that was one Ramakrishna mission and Swami Vivekananda and yeah, Swami Ramakrishna Paramahansa. Apart from these all are another greatest contribution. Of course, it is not Indian, but you have to remember that that is a Theosophical Society. Please note down. This is also important objective point of view, as well as you should know about this. Sometimes they're asking all these questions. So, Theosophical Society. If you see the Theosophical Society, it was founded by Madame Madame Balvaske and Colonial H.S. Olcott. Please note down. Madam Blattsky, Balvaske and Colonial H.S. Olcott in 1875 at Newark. So this was a fusion of two countries. If you'll see this Balvaske, Madame Balvaske was belongs to Russian spiritualist, and Colonial Olcott, he was American spiritualist. So these two, Eastern and Western cultures, are the spiritual fusion, we can say. The Theosophical Society is a fusion of Western and Eastern. One is belongs to Russian ideology, another is belongs to the American ideology, spiritual ideology. Okay. Later on, in 1886, Colonial Olcott shifted to headquarters. Yeah, he came to India. In India, they established this Theosophical Society at Adayar, yeah, near Chennai, Adayar. And to propagate that, Mrs. Annie Besant also came to India She was an Britisher. Okay, Annie Besant. She had also great contribution to spread the Theosophical Society in India. And by that time, you can't believe that spread. It was so popular among the people within short period. Okay, in and around. Yeah, it was established in India with the help of two members. In South Chennai, it was taken by Annie Besant, and in North, it was taken by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Okay, so they established number of Theosophical Society in both Maharashtra and South India. Within few years, more than 200 branches of this Theosophical Society was established in India. And main concept was the society was reached the zenith in the glory during the anniversary. As I told you, 1893 she came, okay, to India, and Dr. Annie she was a boundless energy. She took part in Indian national struggle also and became the president of Indian National Congress also. Okay, and what was the main contribution of this reform movement to India? Within few minutes, we are going to complete this. As a result, we can complete this part. Let us complete, children. This Theosophical Society, if you'll see, mainly in 19th century, they wanted to religious reform movement strongly oppose the orthodoxy in the religious field. They gave great blow to the rituals, blind superstition, and flash ceremonies. Okay, that was the main. They wanted to bring a reform in the traditional practices. Number one. Number two, these religious elements by using intellectual and adopting the scientific attitude. Yeah, that's the greatest, the Theosophical Society. Of course, that we able to get even Ramakrishna Mission also. So I mean Vivekananda also, whatever the views and all this they gave, along with the traditional Hinduism, modern scientific method. He also adopted that. The same thing here we able to get in the Theosophical Society, but we are missing the Hindu concept here. Okay, they wanted to bring the change by adopting scientific attitude. Next, third, if you see, the strengthened feeling of the self-respect, self-reliance, and patriotism among the people. This is the main objective of this Theosophical Society. Similarly, several steps were taken for the emancipation of women. Practice of sati and infanticide were made illegal. Okay, 1856, the law was passed which permitted remarriage of the widows. These are the steps, efforts taken by Theosophical Society in India. In India. Okay. Next, many superstitions began to disappear by the close of this century, and it was longer considered the sinful to travel for. Okay, so these are the greatest contribution we can say. So these all are the socio-religious movement with the contribution of this. One more credit we have to give for the Britishers. How the Britishers? During this time, we have seen the East India Company already came to India. They became the ruler also. So along with this socio-religious, this is the movement and cultural movement. Still, we have to give important to British government. The British government also had a little bit contribution. Of course, they didn't like India. They exploited India. But with that dislike and exploitation also, we had little bit contribution. So always I used to say that is a blessing in disguise. Blessing in disguise. Okay, anyhow. So they introduced that modern means of transport, communication, English education. 1830, the English education, the Christian missionaries, whatever they brought from the Western to India, we able to get some or other communication development and transport development. These all are the telegraph, telephone, or the Western education, newspapers. Okay, introduction of that was yeah, newspaper, and these all are media was just beginning in the Western country that we able to get in India by that time. So these are the British contribution to raise that feeling of nationalism. With these all things, we created some organizations. Okay, All India Kishan Sabha, next the Pune Sarvajanin Sabha, Mumbai Mahajan Sabha. Like that, some organizations also we able to create, associations we able to create, that all learned people, educated people, they made one group. But unfortunately, these all groups were not recognized by the British in the meantime. Another Britisher, I hope you people know that A.O. Hume, Alien Octavian Hume, who was belongs to the England only, IS officer he was by the time. I am civil officer, and he uh, helped the Indians, and he suggested to make one organization which should get the recognition of British government. Earlier, I told some association, All India Kisan Sabha, Pune Sarvajanin Sabha, Mumbai Mahajan Sabha, like that. These are the associations created by Indians without the recognition of British government. But now, with his suggestion, all the Indian educated people, they created one organization, and that organization, they got the permission, they got the recognition from the British government, and that was started in 1885 at Bombay, and that continued for 3 days, 29th December to 31st December, with the 72 delegates in the Mumbai. By the time Bombay, okay, under the leadership of Umesh Chandra Banerjee, and that organization was none other than, I hope you know that. I hope you have written that organization name, Indian National Congress. And that Indian National Congress, when we established, it helped for our next phase, the freedom struggle. So next class, children, we are going to continue with the freedom struggle, how the Indian National Congress was formed, and the three divisions. One is the moderates, next one is the extremist, and third one is the Gandhi era. So now we reached near to the 1885. Okay, and in the meantime, as I told you earlier also, how the British came, the European, Dutch, French, Portuguese, finally the East India Company, Britishers, they came. There was a Battle of Plassey, 1757, then Battle of Buxar, 1764. These two decisive battles made India to transfer toward the hands of East India Company, and that East India Company ruled with the viceroys, not viceroy, governor generals. Okay, and after the governor generals, it was 1857, Great Sepoy Mutiny. After the Sepoy Mutiny, when British government has taken direct control under them, they send the rulers, they were called as viceroys, and the viceroys, they ruled till 1947, right? So that was the period, East India Company. I'm not sure whether it is completed or not. Otherwise, we have to go a little bit that period also, 1857 to 1757 to 1857. Okay, if it is not completed, we'll continue. Otherwise, we'll come to the freedom movement. Let me ask you, ma'am, and then we'll continue next class. Ma'am, whether this period is completed, ma'am? 1750,
Yeah.
1757, Battle of Plassey to 1857, that phase is completed.
Okay.
No, no, explanation is completed or not? Okay, I'll ask that individually. In the class, 1757 and 1857, that period is completed or not? Explanation.
No, sir.
Okay.
From
Okay.
1857 onwards, it is explained.
Okay, so then we have to complete.
Just the battle of.
Plassey.
No, not
Plassey.
even battle of Plassey, sir.
1857
revolt. What are the reasons for that? Only from there. Why there is a failure of 1857 revolt from there? But Aditi and even Vishnu were not there, sir.
Okay.
In the next classes, you can continue with that. Huh?
Definitely.
At that time, in those classes, they were not there, both of them.
Okay.
Neha and Ashwini were there.
Okay. Once again, we'll continue. No problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So in the next class, shall we do it?
Yeah, ma'am. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm signing off. Good evening, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you, class. Prepare well. If any doubt, you can consult. You have my phone number, means you can contact directly at any time.
Yeah, you are there in the group, no, sir? Yeah.
Yes.
They can contact.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you,
class.